I've kind of been anti-Facebook group because a big thing for me is I don't want you to take on breast cancer as belonging to you, as being part of you. I don't want you to take ownership of it. I don't want you to make friends based on it, that if you get well, you will miss those people. I don't want any of the things that could hold you back from recovering as quickly as possible. So along with emotions and beliefs and the language that we use, look at not only the misinformation that people can give each other and the worries and negativity and overwhelm that they bring in instead of positivity into an online group, but also these friendships that become so meaningful because they're born out of trauma that you don't want to let go. And so, you stay in longer than you should. And I'm like, I just don't think it's, from my standpoint of talking more about the emotional side of this, I don't know that I would want to have a group of people bonding over something that they're trying to get through as quick as possible. That it seems like it's going in the wrong direction and giving the wrong signal from me. But for me, the foundation is getting a handle on the emotions, the beliefs, and the language, because that's what's going to rule whether you recover or don't recover and how long or short the journey is, because it's really the journey in here that's setting that whole thing up for success or failure. Those three parts of the mental side of this. And there's nothing more important in the beginning, I think, even, well, except for the things you should stop eating. Nothing's more important than getting a handle on the overwhelm and the fear and really getting into, is that just coming because of the cancer industry? Or is it beliefs that you're holding? Is it the things that you're saying to yourself? Is it an experience you watch someone else go through? Is it the language that you're using? Did your doctor say something that really took you in a wrong direction because he wasn't aware of his language? What's going on here, and how can you really flip the script on the emotions of this literally in a couple hours, less. But I don't think people would believe me if I told them that it could be done that quickly. So let's say it takes longer, but it's something that can be done quickly. And it's the first step, because how can you make any decisions about anything for treatment if you're in this state of maybe not in shock anymore, but just spinning? Your head is spinning. You can't focus. You have no clarity. You're so overwhelmed and so scared, and so many people are bombarding you with their advice and their stories that are mostly bad. And before you know it, you're like, I don't know what to do. I'll sign, I'll do whatever the doctor's telling me to do. And I feel like, from what I've heard, that going to an oncologist, and no matter what, they're going to do everything they can to pressure you into signing right now. I've never used the word survivor. I frame it as, I received a diagnosis of breast cancer. That's pretty much how I say it all the time. Not that I don't ever slip and say something else, but that's how I consciously try to always frame it in writing and in speaking, because I don't like any of the words. How could I survive something when I don't look at it as a battle? I'm not a victim. I'm not a survivor. It's something that happened and I dealt with it. And I think people look at it as something that happened to them, and they just want a doctor to get in there and grab it and throw it away. And I don't think that's going to fix anything. And what am I supposed to do with this? Because for me, other than how am I going to explain this to my husband when I walk out that door and he's sitting in the waiting room right on the other side, and I don't want him to freak out. So I have to say something very calming. And the second thing was, I don't think I'm going to die. I think this is a wake-up call. I'm a very stubborn person. I'm not surprised that I didn't listen to any little pebbles, that I needed a 2x4 to whack me upside the head for me to pay attention. But you've got my attention now. What is this all about? And so, yeah, there was a part of me that was going down the what is this about track. The other part of me was going down the what do I do about this track? And there are parallel tracks that run at the same time so that they meet at the destination of all done, no more. And then you just move on from there. And for me, it was a catalyst that completely plucked me out of my life and stuck me in an alternate universe of being somebody I had never dreamed of being, and was the best thing I've ever experienced. And it never would have happened if it wasn't for the catalyst of the breast cancer. I don't see any way it could have happened otherwise. I was very happy in my life here, doing what I wanted to do. It was a great place to live. And, it just never would have happened. So I think for a lot of women that are introspective, they go, yes, this changed my life on every possible level, and all for the better. But if you're still in that place of overwhelm and fear, you're not ready to hear that now. That's what I worry about in a group, is the unconscious commiserating, where they think they're being positive and they think they're being helpful, but really they're introducing niggly little things that subconsciously get planted in someone else's brain that they may not have subjected themselves to. It's like this person that I knew that contacted me a couple years ago, that she was diagnosed with cancer, and it wasn't breast cancer. And she emailed me and said, I'm only telling people that I know will be positive and support me. And I thought, well, that's a very smart thing to do, whether it's family or friends or whoever. Don't bring those other people in. And then I said, okay, these are the first things that you need to do. And then we started emailing, and every once in a while we would talk on the phone, and she'd tell me, the doctors are saying this, and I'd kind of reframe it for her. And she'd say, well, I expected to be at this place and I'm not. And I'd reframe that for her. And she always felt so much better just after a short conversation with me, because I could shift her perception about the way she was looking at it. And then she'd go, oh, okay. And then she told me, she said, you have no idea how often you'll just throw out one sentence and it completely shifts the direction I was going through. This is just how I think. And this is how I talk. And this is pretty much the same kind of stuff that I was teaching 20 plus years ago.